Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan Aswell, and you have tuned into Small Steps, Big Life. I enjoy the fact that I can do this anywhere in the world, and it is my great pleasure today to be coming to you live from San Diego, and I'm just squealing with joy.
I
Getting
hear
an
it.
hour to hang out with my pal, the incredibly gifted, talented person and singer-songwriter Peggy Lebo. Yay!
Yay! Right back at you. Man, you're amazing. It was so fun at rehearsal yesterday to get to hear you. And I'm excited to hear you on Saturday.
Yeah, so we'll get into talking a lot more about that. For those of you who don't know, this coming Saturday, November 14th, both Peggy and I will be featured artists in the second San Diego Conscious Music Festival. And if you're anywhere in the San Diego area, I encourage you strongly to come. It'll be an amazing day. Peggy and I will be focused in the evening portion of the show, but there will be local talent doing their thing, I believe, from 1 o'clock on. So it'll
I
be
think
quite a
from
full
like
day.
2 to 5 in the courtyard.
Okay, 2 to 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, a full day. And if you just Google San Diego Conscious Music Fest, I'll also include a link to it after this broadcast that you'll be able to find, as well as on, I'm sure, your Facebook page, Peggy, mine, a bunch of other people. That there are lots of ways
Okay.
you can find out. San Diego Conscious Music Festival, November 14th. But enough about that. For now, let's go back a little bit, dear Peggy. So this show is Small Steps, Big Life, and my intention with this show is to get on people that I see are leading big, juicy, interesting lives and get them to just talk about their journey. Because the fun thing that I'm discovering is no matter who I speak to, it's all about a series of small steps that they took to get to the present moment. And I know you well enough to know that your story is incredible. And well, as all of our stories are, but I love yours, and I would love to share you with the world. So here we are. So the first question I like to ask is, I know that songwriting. Well, let's start there. When did you start songwriting? When did all that begin?
Oh, when I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of my way to just deal with puberty and all the angst of that and all the craziness. So
Yes.
it was sort of my therapy in a way. It was how I worked things out. And also too, I just felt, I just love anything that was creative. I grew up in a very creative family. My mom's an artist.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always something creative happening, and that ended up being my expression.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to be practicing something else usually, and then I would hear something in my head, and then it would just take me off in this other direction. And
Wow. So that's what I was going to ask you. You started piano lessons before that, I'm assuming.
yeah, so I started playing piano when I was 8
Wow.
with the scary piano teacher at school.
No rapping of the knuckles when you played the wrong notes or any of that, I hope.
No. Actually, she used to fall asleep during lessons, but
Oh, poor dear. Wow.
so I got to kind of play what I wanted, so that worked out.
Yeah.
But it was I think it started with piano and then moved into the songwriting and the singing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of it was my grace. That was what got me through any difficult time. And then later became something that was my community, and really all of the best, probably the best things in my life have all come from the songwriting and the singing and the community around that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. That was completely my experience too. It was my ticket out. It was my ticket to sanity, and my ticket to, it continues to be my ticket to community and great experiences everywhere. So yeah, I completely get that. And as I'm sure, well, I know because we've had this conversation before. There was an important moment that happened. Now, so just tell us a little bit, because you kind of, in terms of the wide world, you were kind of really doing it. You were writing songs and writing songs.
Yeah, actually, I was working up in LA. People that I met in a music school there, and then I ended up working for a studio in Burbank. Right. And as part of that, I did worked with artist development, so up and coming artists that were signed to a deal, like a development deal with a record company, would hire people like me to come in and help write songs with them and help them discover their voice as a singer and an artist. So I was doing that, and then I had a few hits. One song did, a few songs did well, but I kind of put all of my music for me to sing on the back burner, and just always thought, oh, someday I'll get to that.
Yeah, and I was about to ask you, how did that feel to have to do that, to say no to yourself?
Well, and it's something I always felt like there would always be time for it. I always thought, oh, I'll get to that at some point. And I really was having a great time. I got to work with amazing people, and I learned so much. So I loved that time, but there was that thing, like I always felt like I could feel like I wasn't quite expressing the way that I could. If it was because it was always for somebody else, or it was always something that was, I was given a directive of like what kind of sound they wanted, or I didn't ever get to choose that myself. So I was doing this really awful project, writing these songs for aerobic dance videos.
Right.
And I was driving up to the studio to record one of the songs when I got hit by a semi.
Wow.
And I got pushed down the freeway 1.5 miles. God. And at that point, I mean, I remember everything, like everything slowed way down. And all I could think is, oh, please don't let this be the last song I hear before I die. And I just felt at that moment that you really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that came out of nowhere. And so during my recovery time for 2 years, I actually spent time with The Artist Way. Have you heard of that book?
Sure have, yeah.
Yeah. So I did The Artist Way, and it was through that I started to, was part of my healing from the accident, and also kind of discovering my voice as an artist, writing for myself, like what I cared about and, what mattered to me.
And were you bedridden for that 2 years? Like what happened to you? Did you break a whole lot of things? Like,
it was total miracle. I mean, actually my car crunched around me, literally crunched around me. And I had a lot of soft tissue injury, but it took about 2 years to heal. Like just a lot of pain, but it opened me, it broke me open. And it got me to really dig deep and find out who I was as a person, which then informed who I was as an artist. So I'm grateful for that part of it, the experience.
And how old were you when that happened?
33.
Yeah. I think about, I don't profess to know a lot about astrology, whatever, but I do find it interesting. There are a couple of things that really stick in my consciousness. And one of the things I always think is very interesting is they talk about Saturn return every 28 years, Saturn revolution. And so it's just really interesting to see what happens. And they say it takes a few years for the impact of it to kind of really settle in. So those years, 28 to 32, some really juicy things happen to people.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm all surprised to hear that that's around that time when all this happened to you.
Yeah. Did you have a similar experience? That age,
well, I didn't get dragged down the highway for a mile and a half, but 33 was when I moved from Montreal to Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
So, and on the other side of it, I think of the big three that we all know about: Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and Jim Morrison, all died at 27.
27.
And my thought is, and perhaps this is a massive oversimplification, and a lot of people will have feelings about me saying this, but my thought is, new energy coming in, and they couldn't handle it, or weren't able to. They weren't ready for it, or fear took over, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I'll never know.
Yeah. But you just know that's a significant time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So back to you. So 33, you have this incredible experience. You have 2 years to sit with Julia Cameron and really get a much.
With my piano too. I got back to my piano, which is cool because I remember. I don't know if you know. Are you familiar with Tori Amos and her story?
No, not with her story. No.
She came out and she got signed, and at one point she's tried all these different incarnations of herself, and nothing was really working. So she just sat down with her piano for a year and came up with this incredible music, and they didn't know what to do with her. So they actually sent her to England. So they're like, well, they didn't know what to do with her here. Sent her to England, and then she released her work that she did with just her and her piano. And that's when everything took off for her. So I just thought, I'm just going to spend this time with me and my piano and, and Julia Cameron, and to see what happens.
So had you not been using piano though when you were writing all these songs for other people?
Well, we brought a lot of studio musicians in to do a lot of the playing, or so I was doing I wrote on piano, but not in the way that I got to when I just got to explore and just be with me and the piano. Yeah. It was a reconnection. Yeah.
Okay. So there you are, enjoying this process, and then out of it comes a new voice. You find your voice in a much deeper way. I would assume that wasn't kind of the beginning of that there had been signs of that, specks of that along the way before that. But from 33 on, it's a much more focused and powerful, complete expression of who you are.
And I had been on that track at one point, but I got kind of sidetracked by the work I did up there. And to me, that was kind of my almost like an internship in a way. Like I got to work with so many amazing people, but I got lost a little bit in it and lost myself a little bit. So that time was when I really reconnected and made the commitment to move forward. I think I was afraid before. Mm. That's part of why I waited so long.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, what is that? I'm paraphrasing Oprah, and maybe you remember this too. And I don't think it's hers, but I remember I went through a phase where I was watching her quite regularly, and she talked about, the signs that we get. And at first it's the, it's the gentle nudge, and then, the volume keeps getting turned up as we're not listening until we get the cosmic 2x4.
Yeah, it took a lot to wake me up. It took a semi.
Exactly. There's nothing like being dragged down the highway for 1.5 miles to really kind of cement things in,
Exactly. I got the message.
Yeah. Well,
it's funny because a couple of weeks before I had said, man, I really want a new car and some time off. And I was like, oh, gonna be careful what you ask for.
Really? Wow. So what's happened since then, Peggy? Tell us what's happened since that incredible moment.
Well, it was interesting because I still continued to do some of my work in LA at the time with the songwriting, and did both. And then since that time, I had done 3 albums. The first album was called First Breath, and that was just the whole process of recovering from the accident, finding my voice. Second one was 1,000 Colors, which was the experience of wanting to really explore writing from all different emotions, all different colors, and kind of looking back at like this one song I have on there called Wonderland, which I'm doing on Saturday, was about going back and exploring that experience of leaving. Like, I'm from Boston, and I just felt drawn to California. And so I just packed everything, I had 7 boxes and came to California, and just trusted that was right. And it's one of the best things, the most courageous things I've ever done. That I think when you talk about the small steps, once you get here, then that's when the small steps kick in, and just moving in the direction of what you love.
Yeah. Was there anybody that you knew in San Diego? Did you go straight from Boston to San Diego?
No, to LA.
Oh, to LA. Okay.
That was it. Yeah. So I was in graduate school. So I did a master's in theology, and then I did another degree in music at Grove.
First.
Huh?
Theology first.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I came from a long line, like in my family. My grandfather was a famous minister, and my dad was a minister. And so I kind of needed to just check it out for myself. So I went and did the master's and read the text in Greek and said, oh, because it was very liberating, because it's not, my understanding of it was very different than what I was brought up with. So it was very liberating.
Yeah.
I could say.
Oops. Looks like we lost Peggy. Hope we get her back. While we get reconnected to Peggy, let me just say hi to everybody who's here. I think it's John and Anne. Maybe there's fewer. Maybe there are a lot. I see there may well be more people than that watching. So thank you for being here. My name is Nathan Aswell. This is Small Steps, Big Life. And my intention with this show is to talk to people that I think are living incredible and interesting lives and just talk about how they got to be at the present moment that they're at. And so today I'm speaking with Peggy Lebo, who is an artist here in the San Diego area. And she was just sharing how she had been a songwriter since the age of 11 and had a very pivotal experience when she was 33, where after many years of supporting other people in their creative expression through a job that she had in the music industry, she was dragged down the highway for a mile and a half and survived. And in her 2-year recovery period, spent a lot of time with Julia Cameron and the Artist's Way and her piano, found her voice, and has been moving forward ever since. And gee, looks like we've run into a little bit of trouble connecting with Peggy. So I'm going to pause the recording until we connect with her again. So please stand by, don't go anywhere. And let's see if we can, I'll phone Peggy and we are back with Peggy. We had a little glitch there. We won't say anything about how it had to do with Microsoft products. We won't mention the word Microsoft.
We won't even mention that.
It didn't come up at all. All right. So glad to have you back, Peggy. So we were just beginning to get into talking about what happened after your 2 years of being with your piano and with Julia Cameron and the Artist's Way, and you continued to work in the, I know what we were talking about. You were talking about making the move from Boston to LA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So just talking about being drawn by what you love and what you, by vision. I think that was what I was talking about. And I think that's what has made the biggest difference in being able to take those small steps that you talk about to create the life of that's possible. Yeah. And I think I was talking about that song Wonderland was about moving from Boston to California and just leaving everything I knew, everything that was comfortable, everything that kind of defined me, and going somewhere where I didn't know anyone. And I mean, I didn't know anything about California except what I watched on TV and Baywatch. That was it. So I knew that this is where I was supposed to be, and I followed that. And then all the best things that have happened have been when I followed vision or followed my intuition, even when it didn't make sense necessarily. And I think that's part of being an artist. Like, you have to be able to just follow that, even when you write and when you create, is to follow that part of yourself, that intuitive part. And so just to know even what steps to take.
What I wanted to know, the question I wanted to ask you next is, all of us in our journeys are supported by other people. We get help in all kinds of different ways. It just becomes a much richer experience when we allow the support and help of other people. Surely there must have been somebody that you talked to or that suggested you make the move, or once you got to LA was, helped you kind of get settled, or so. Yeah, I'm inviting you to just share that, people that supported you in your journey. Yeah,
the biggest people for me were teachers, teachers and mentors, and they were people that saw who I was and saw who I could be. I think I was someone who was a little bit more shy when I was younger, because I knew I always felt so different. I knew that I saw things differently and I thought differently. And then later on, when you find your tribe, you get, it's because you're creative, or you just have a different way of seeing the world. So I think there were teachers and mentors along the way that so really I felt seen and heard and understood. And that made all the difference and gave me the support and the courage to get out there. Because it's not easy being an artist, especially when you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to be seen and to be heard in a very intimate way, I think. So so in the work that I do now, I do teaching, and I teach and I mentor. And like, for me, that what I want to do is be able to see who they are now and also see who they could be, and how can I support that? How can I create a space for that?
Right. And in a very different way from you supporting people before, because you're not doing that to the detriment of yourself. It's both and.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. And it's finding the balance, because I can feel if the balance is off, if I am just always doing that for other people and not getting to do it for myself, I can feel the imbalance there. And then when that comes back, then I'm better at both.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, how did you get to San Diego?
Oh, I fell in love, and we met at music school right before he graduated, and we moved to San Diego. He is a surfer, so he had spent time down here in San Diego, and so it got a little crazy. We lived in Santa Monica, and it just started getting really crazy there. And so there were signs like that were kind of showing us, and we thought, well, we don't want to wait for a semi before we make the move, and so we made the move down here, and I still worked part-time up in LA, but this has been such a great place for us. It's funny because when I was up in LA, everyone said, if you move to San Diego, you'll never work again. You'll never be creative. And it ended up being the most creative time. And I actually had all the breakthroughs business-wise after I made that move, because I was where I was meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Let's give some love and attention to your partner, whose name is
Ron Florentine.
Ron Florentine, and Ron is also going to be part of the San Diego Conscious Music Fest on Saturday. He'll be playing with you on all of your stuff.
Oh, my stuff.
Great to see him play yesterday, and great to see him love his energy. He's a good.
That's great.
Yeah,
such a good player too.
Yeah. So this is kind of a I don't know. Perhaps it's an obvious question, but it's fun to ask anyway. Thinking about the steps, the questions that I like to ask people. The third one is persistence. What makes you continue to do this? What makes you continue to walk this path?
Oh, that's a really good question. I can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's such a part of how I how I express in the world, and it feels like it matters. Like I feel that I have something of value to offer when I'm really being genuine and honest with what I do.
Yeah.
I remember someone telling me one time, if you come from an authentic, honest place, you will always have an audience and you will make a difference. And then that's how I still feel.
Yep. Amen. And we're all happy. What's that?
How about you?
I'd same. I mean, I remember the way that telling people within the last few years that, like we all do, and I'm sure you've gone through this too, there are just some moments that are challenging and you just think, wow, is this, do I want to continue with this? Is this really, my highest and fullest expression? And almost immediately this voice comes in that says, what would you rather do? What would make more sense than this? What would feel more fulfilling than this? And then that just gets me through the period of doubt. And I just realize, yeah, I'm exactly where I should be. This is my highest and fullest expression. So.
It's obvious to me when I hear you and see you. So.
Right back at you, love. And by the way, let's hear you play a song, for goodness sake.
By the way.
Praise on what I want to say, what I notice about your songwriting, but I want people to hear you before I say it so that they'll really understand what I say once you've played something. So whatever you want. It doesn't have to be something you're playing on Saturday, just anything, whatever is moving you right now.
Okay. Let's see. Just so happen to be at a piano.
Yeah.
Totally unplanned. Yeah.
Totally unplanned.
So this song is a song that I keep having this new experience of, because it's about saying yes, and saying yes with all your heart. And so I keep having times where I have a new relationship with what that song means. So today's one of those.
Just before you go, I just want to acknowledge engineer ABD. I'm sorry, I don't quite know how to pronounce your handle, but thank you. Welcome for joining the conversation. And I just want to say, for the benefit of those who are watching and for those who will be watching, this is Small Steps, Big Life. My name is Nathan Aswell, and I'm in the middle of having a lovely connection with my friend Peggy Lebo, who's a great singer-songwriter here in the San Diego area, and she's about to share a song of hers with us, which is called
All That I Am.
All That I Am. Take it away, Peggy.
Right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting all of my life for this, and I've been searching everywhere for what I missed, 'cause I've been tangled up, I've been upside down, closed my eyes and took a breath, and love is what I found. I give in, I give up to this life and this life with all that I am. Oh, I may fall, I may fly, I don't know, but I'll try with all that I am, with all that I am. I feel the morning sun as it lights my face. All my defenses are melting away. So this is grace. I've been tangled up, I've been upside down, closed my eyes and took a breath, and love is what I found. I give in, I give up to this life and this love with all that I am. Oh, I may fall, I may fly, I don't know, but I'll try with all that I am, with all that I am. I will follow where love goes. I'll stop asking why. I will do whatever it takes. I won't be afraid to try. I've been tangled up, I've been upside down, closed my eyes and took a breath, and love is what I found. I give in, I give up to this life and this love with all that I am. Oh, I may fall, I may fly, I don't know, but I'll try with all that I am, with all that I I've been waiting all of my life for this.
Gorgeous. Peggy Lebo singing All That I Am. Thanks, Peggy.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so now I get a chance to say all the things that I want to say. Um, I drove down from Vancouver to be here, so there were 3 long days of driving, and I spent a lot of that time listening to the music that I'll be helping to make on Saturday, including your songs. And um, I want to say now what I felt then and what I'm feeling again when I listen to you sing. It's so obvious, Peggy, from the first note. And I use this word deliberately. This is a word that is a really important word for me. That you are a master. That
Oh.
the quality of your singing, your lyrics, your phrasing, your chord progressions speak completely and clearly about how long you've been on this path. And it's just so wonderful to hear that, you know, in every note, in every note. And one of the songs that you're an expression that maybe some people watching have not heard, but I know it's a word that resonates a lot with you and I. We want to write songs that really stick in people's ears, and the little phrase that we use is an earworm, something that can't get out of people's ears. And I can hear how the chorus of that would completely become one of those for people that would, that would listen to that, and literally you get to the end of it and, gee, can I listen to it again right from the beginning? And one of the songs, Wonderland, the song you referred to earlier, it was all I could do when I was driving to not listen to it 100 times one time. It's just so catchy and infectious, and I just felt like a little boy yesterday singing it.
Oh,
so,
I love getting to sing with you on it. That was great.
Yeah. So yeah. So thank you for your persistence, for staying on this path, because wow, it's like, I often say you can tell a master musician. I love how much, and I've done this many times. It's a fun little thing I like to do, to be sitting in an audience and watching a musician as they come on stage. I can tell by the way they put the instrument on and the way they tune it, what's coming.
So true.
You can feel that ease. You can see how the instrument is an extension of who they are in their body language. They're just completely relaxed. And so that same thing I hear in absolutely everything, every note you play, every note you sing. It's like there's no disconnection. Let me say it in a positive way. The pathway from your thought to the execution in your vocal cords to the end of your fingertips is like this short. I just feel like every note that you sing, every note that you play is a complete expression of your heart. It's
wow.
Yeah. So thank you.
The feeling is so mutual. I feel that way when I hear you.
Wow.
So thank you.
Well, I appreciate hearing that. I guess I'm happy that we're mirrors for each other. I think we're just going to slay people on Saturday, you and I.
I know, it's going to be so much fun.
So I've just one more question to ask you before we get into talking about Saturday. What are you grateful for?
Oh, so much. Especially just recently, I was sick for 2 years with Lyme, and came out of that with so much gratitude for all the things I took for granted before. It was a huge awakening for me, and a letting go of things that didn't matter. And so I think I'm grateful for the things that wake me up. And so whether it was something difficult like that, or now my sort of my mantra is I just want life to wake me up. So no more semis or although if whatever happens, I know I'll be fine. But I think that the things that woke me up and that continue to do that, because that connects me, like whether it's hearing music, or like yesterday, getting to play with great musicians and who I just love, and that connects me. I'm so grateful for that. Those are all the things that I feel support me in being able to stay connected and present.
Yeah. Beautiful. Amen. And once again, I resonate completely with that. I mean, it's just, it's a group sport,
Life is a group sport. I like it.
It's wonderful for us to sit and create on our own. We need to do that. We need to really be quiet and tune in. But boy, there's nothing like the energy that you can create when you're in a room full of people on stage and in the audience who just, you're creating this unique moment together. And that's that's the whole enchilada for me. There's nothing that beats that,
It's a different kind of art because you really are creating art in that moment, and it'll never be the same exact expression again.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so all that said, we have to talk about what's next. And of course, what's next is, drum roll please, hey, the San Diego Conscious Music Fest, which is happening on Saturday. So let's talk about that. This actually is the second time for you and I. We did the inaugural one in November of 2015. And I guess we were, we made the cut because here we are in the second one.
We're back.
So you will be playing 3 songs. Mm-hmm. And those songs will be Wonderland.
And Every Day.
Yeah.
And Who You Are.
And all 3 of these are on. Did you make a point of putting them from each of your recordings, or are all your recordings represented in those 3 songs?
2 of them are.
Okay.
So Every Day is from Path of Light, and then Wonderland's from 1,000 Colors, and then Who You Are is brand new.
Okay. Hey.
And it's cool because I actually wrote it for a friend of mine's daughter who was turning 13 as a celebration of her kind of stepping into womanhood, and they had a beautiful ceremony, and it was just so inspiring. And this kid's amazing. Wow. And so I wrote this song to sing for that, and I just thought, well, what would I want to have known when I was 13, and what do I want to say to her? Because she's this incredible person, and I just know that in the next few years, when being a teenager, there's a lot of things that will be coming from the outside, trying to define who you are, or tell that you're not enough, or that who you are is something different than your essence, which is just the love and the light that you are. So that's what that song's about. And so she's coming and she's singing with me on that song.
Oh, how great is that?
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
And in particular, what really knocked me out about that song is that repeating melody that you sing at the end. Who you are. I just couldn't get that out of my head. It just kept going.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, we just love the way you structured it. And anyway, I could go on and on.
Just sing with us when we do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Okay, will do. So,
and what are you singing?
I am singing Do That Thing and Jump Right In. So both of them are, for me, I have just been getting excited more and more about including people, so that this show, every time I perform, I've been doing something in my house concerts which I really like. I start out by saying, hey gang, I'm not going to stand here and just do a bunch of songs. I'm going to share some music, and I want us to share stories. This is a unique group of people that's never going to be together again. So how do we celebrate that? Share things that you want to say that came up in you about the songs, or I ask them questions. There's kind of a theme behind the song that I get them to talk about before I share the song. But it's amazing. I'm just having so much fun, and everybody is so excited to play a greater part in it and not just be sitting passively taking something in. So that's just
a great idea.
Yeah. So that's just become my code. It's just, how can I make this as inclusive an experience as possible? So that's why I'm excited about Blab, because, not only can you and I have a great connection, but we can also invite people in. And on that note, John, come on in, brother. I know
come on in.
Let's officially invite John into the podcast. Look at that. Bang. He's just been waiting, lurking. He's
lurking?
Ready to go.
Lurching, all those things.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
John, how do you pronounce your last name?
Beethan.
Beethan, okay.
As in Elizabethan.
Oh, there you go.
I will always remember that now that you've said that.
I know. I had to figure out a way to help people along with this one. And it's really interesting because when the people that do pronounce it properly are usually Scottish or German, because its actually roots are in German.
Right. So for those watching, I wanted to invite John in because John is playing a big part in the San Diego Conscious Music Fest this week. He is helping in any and all ways to help to promote it. And you just wrote that you'll be there with a video crew on Saturday. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that's a video producer, and he has a drone cam.
Wow.
So we'll be flying that sucker for 30 minutes outside.
Nice.
Not inside. Nobody, Dave Avani, and just people were like, no. So we'll probably do it outside.
I've never even heard of such a thing. That's amazing.
Oh, really? Oh, no, it's a big deal. And this guy's very, very good. He's a ex-Marine, ex-sergeant Marine. So, I mean, he's a control freak, so I don't think he'll hurt anybody.
Control freaks are good that way.
Yeah.
John, tell me, how did you get involved in all this? Are you a friend of Dave Avani, or what's the connection?
I don't know if people can see it, but it's Peggy.
Okay.
So Peggy and I are doing some work together, and Peggy asked me if I knew about the festival. I went, no. And she said they really need help. So I showed up last week for a meeting, saw what needed to be done, and laid out a vision and a path. And I've pretty much been working tirelessly since because I believe in it. I've been involved with music a long time, managed artists, been involved in some pretty great projects. Actually, I was podcasting early on since 2005 and podcast with Paul Horn. Do you know who he is?
Sure.
Yeah. So that was really great because Paul, I had scheduled 3 hours with him through a friend of mine. Turned into 3 days. And the recorder pretty much never stopped.
Wow.
And the stories were great. So anyway, how I got involved? Peggy. Because I'm sort of like doing whatever Peggy tells me to do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. I can see that that's really the way to go.
Yeah. I used to, I've worked with quite a few actually singers, and we always did well, and most notably Chris Calloway, Cab Calloway's daughter, and worked really hard, toured, had such a great run. My life was abundantly full during those periods, and when I met Peggy at the Seaside Center for Conscious Living and heard her perform, I mean, I was crying, and it just. As I told her later, I said, if I can help, please let me know, because there's a part of my life that's empty and it needs to be filled. So she said, help the San Diego Conscious Music Festival. And I showed up. That's all we all need to do, ever need, is just show up.
Yeah.
Well, and you're so great with the social media and with being able to see a vision of how to make things happen. Like, you get stuff done. Like,
thank you. I do.
Yeah, really creative, innovative ways of doing things.
How long? When did you two meet at that center? Was it this last summer or longer than that?
A few weeks ago.
Wow.
About 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, right?
That's what happens, right? It's just like when it's time, boom, it happens, and then it happens.
There's if you see it just, and you just jump the wave.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, you know, what was really interesting is I sang that morning in Temecula, and I just, had this experience of just like saying yes and saying in a deeper way to whatever was next. And that night is when I met John, and we've been working together ever since then. So that's something I'm grateful for.
Yeah,
we're all grateful sitting here, and I'm sure there's a couple other people out there that are grateful as well.
Yeah, Anne, are you able to join us, or do you want to say something in the chat or whatever? John, you haven't met Anne yet, but you will. She is, I call her Angel Anne. She's someone that I know through the positive music world. She often attends the Positive Music Festival that happens annually. Now it will be happening in February in Tampa. And she's just an absolute sweetheart, and we all know her and love her. So she's I don't have anybody who supports me as consistently as Anne does. It's like if I'm doing a newsletter, if I've got a Facebook post, if I'm doing this show, like boom, she's the first person.
She says she's going to stick to chat today.
Fine. Okay, fine. Don't show people your beautiful face. I'll just hold it in my own consciousness.
Oh, I've already, the great thing is you can hover over her, launch her Twitter, and just follow. And Anne, you look beautiful. I can tell that it's from the inside out, which is really the best way.
There you go.
Oh, and just, I've heard so many things about you, Anne. You are so loved.
She's changed her mind.
Come in! Yay!
Yay!
Hi!
I mean, how could you not come online after all that? I mean, really.
And look at this. She's getting props. These are You guys know what props are?
Yeah.
Well,
the little hand claps?
Huh?
Is that you doing all the props there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just click over the hands.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Click over the hands.
I'm on the phone. This is the first time I've done this.
Hey.
Welcome.
We're glad to be your first, honey.
Behave, Nathan.
Oh, behave, baby. See, yes. Everyone has their own favorite voice. The favorite voice that Anne has that I do is Austin Powers. So inevitably I slip into Austin.
Okay, let's hear some Austin.
Oh, behave, baby. So, Anne, what would you like to say?
I don't know. No, I'm really kind of wishing I had a magic carpet that was not in the shop so that I could go to the Conscious Music Fest. But
well, as you and I have experienced in the past, when I've been performing, there has been someone there that has been kind enough to connect with you on Skype or something. So I will put that out. I will see if, well, John, maybe I could toss that over to your capable hands. I know you'll have your hands full with the video crew, but perhaps there's somebody that who would be kind enough to bring a laptop or whatever. I'm assuming that somewhere in the space that we'll be in, that having an internet connection would be possible, and then watch it on Skype.
I already did a site inspection a week ago for internet. So I've got this, I've got all that handled, and of course I'll have my laptop. So Nathan, you'll have yours.
Yes.
I also scoped out a room that's real quiet.
Yeah.
You'll need to be in two separate places, or else the echo will drive you crazy.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking of a place where she could watch the concert. And she could watch it on stage.
I'm in Illinois. I'm in the middle of Illinois, so that's a little bit too far to go.
Oh, I get it. Okay, good. Yeah. Well, we'll set that up. My original intention was to blab the concert, but it's been a little challenging in terms of everything I need to do. But with the inspiration that Anne is giving me, I'll make it happen.
Hey, you see the power you have? You see that?
You're powerful, man.
Thank you. Yes, this music is just the music. I say it's the music of my heart. So I'm really grateful for anybody that has anything to do with promoting positive music or conscious music. It's definitely been powerful in my life. So.
Amen.
It's one of those things where God doesn't ask you what to serve. God just asks to serve.
That's exactly right.
So for you, darling, you will be streamed.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Amen.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Would you like me to close my window and bring somebody else in? Is there anybody else out there?
I can close mine too. I just wanted to say hi. I got talked into it.
I'm glad that you said yes, Anne. So now that you know how to do it, please feel free to come on in. My next experience will be tomorrow at 4 Pacific with Terry Wilder.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Terry.
you couldn't join us today, but she's aware of today, and she'll be on tomorrow at 4. So that's are you 2 hours later or 3?
Where are
3.
you?
Are you are you on Central Time or Eastern?
Central.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you located?
2 hours.
6 p.m. for you tomorrow night.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm in Illinois. So
Nice.
yeah.
Did you guys get snow yet?
No, don't say that.
Okay. I take it back.
No, we don't have it yet. Thank goodness. But it's coming. Ugh,
It sure is.
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, I will let you guys get back to the show, and
Yeah.
just want to say hi.
Thanks
Nice
for being
to meet
part of it.
you.
You too. I'm connecting with you guys on Facebook, so look out for me.
All
See
righty.
you on Saturday.
Yes, Saturday, Conscious Music Fest. Woohoo! Yay!
Yay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Ann.
Bye.
Bye.
Maybe.
Wow. So glad she got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, Peggy, I just want to turn my love and attention back to you. How can people learn more about you? Thank you, John, too.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple more things to John before I end the podcast. But how can people learn more about you, my dear? Is it PeggyLebo.com?
That's it.
Okay. And for those of you who don't know how to spell Peggy's name, it's Peggylebo.
Yeah.
And I will also include the link to the Conscious Music Festival so that people can find out more about that. This podcast will be available on my YouTube page and on my web page in about an hour's time.
Nice.
And as I said earlier, my next podcast will be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific with Terry Wilder, who will be the MC at the Conscious Music Fest and is also performing in her own right. So
She's awesome. So yeah, so tune in.
So Peggy, what haven't we said? What haven't you shared? Any last thoughts that you'd
My
like?
weight? But I don't think that's going to happen. Other than that, I think we covered it.
Okay. All right.
Anything else you want to share?
Two things. One is that John, I just want to thank you so much for all that you're doing to make the festival happen. Oh, he's back.
And
He wants to get he wants the love and attention right to his face. Good man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, really. It's just it's wonderful to meet you and thank you for the emails and phone calls and all the things you're doing for Peggy and for the festival. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, giving you a big hug on Saturday.
Me too.
And for helping me to be a better blabber.
You blab very well.
yeah, you're natural.
I'm really enjoying it. It's all about inclusion. So,
Yeah, well, it's the most engaging network I've been on. I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to chat with you before we all disconnect, but I'll X myself out now.
Okay. And I don't know how to have a conversation with you without ending this. So can we just connect after on Skype? Can we do that so that it's not part of the recording?
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Drop. What's your ID?
My first and last name.
Got it.
All lowercase.
Okay. Good.
Great.
I need to talk with Peggy too.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Bye. Thank you, John.
So Peggy, I just you're just a bee's knees. I just have so much love and appreciation for you. Thank you for sharing your heart and your insight, and thank you for the commitment to your path. You are so much right on track. You are so much where you should be and doing exactly what you need to do. And it's just obvious in everything you say, everything that you play. And thanks. I feel so grateful to know you, and I am giddy to be playing with you. And really looking
Me
forward to it.
too. You are such a light and just all about love. And it's just evident. You just radiate that in all that you do. It's just who you are. And I'm just so grateful for our time together and to get to play together on Saturday.
Nice stuff. Me too. So all the best to you and Ron, and thank you to all who watched this in real time, and thank you to all who are watching this at some other point in the future. I hope that this time has served you well. And I hope that you can join as many of these podcasts as possible, because this is all about wanting to have us be inspired by each other and realize that we're all living big lives, whether we know it or not. We are. All of our big steps count. All of our small steps are moving us forward to live the big lives we want to live. Thanks, Peggy. Love and blessings,
Thank
dear.
you.
Okay. I'll see you very soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.